Okay, back on the Boombox double trouble. And the first one of these has already been triple trouble to get going, and I still haven't fully fixed the tape deck on it. So I think we'll have a look at this one. And I think it's only had a tape problem, so you don't only need to really pull the top off this one, hopefully. And if I can get the tape decks running in this, I can swap them over, that machine to this, or this machine to that, and see if that motor does still do weird things. First it wouldn't go in high speed dubbing, then it does, but it's got a lot of wow and it's sort of pulsing, and the motor is quite noisy. So by the time I worked out how the circuit worked, it decided to start running again, of course. Actually, it looks like these don't come out. I was hoping the top would come off, but you do have to undo the front to release the front of the top cover by the look at it. So I didn't waste my time undoing the screws last time. It's starting to come out, and I don't particularly want it to. Without the, certainly allows you to get that off. Problem with this one, we've got something connecting to the LCD display, so that's got to come. This front does not want to come loose. I've got most of the screws. I've got the screws loose, though a lot of them don't seem to want to come out of the holes. Here it comes. It's just very tight for some reason. Now we're getting somewhere. Once you get it starting to come apart, disconnect our speakers so we can get rid of them. It's dirty enough to need pulling apart anyway. I'm going to shake some of these screws out. The LCD comes down to two little. Oh, so this has got a whole other radio board in this. That's what I thought it'd be something a bit different, but wow, this is quite a bit different. And we've got other wires here just hooked under. Oh, they're going down to the board down there. So they've cut out, I think, what was all circuit board there, and they've actually moved it downstairs basically. Everything's twisted up in a weird mess. Does that come with this? No, it's a different connector, I think. Certainly a lot harder to get apart than the other one. So I finally got that bit off. Bit of dog fur, lots of dust, even though this one was in quite good condition. It's still quite filthy inside. Oh, we've actually got a fancier tape deck here. So this is a different tape deck combo. This has got the TN21Z with the little auto stop lever that goes up and down there. The bit of a better design than just the tension one. So they've upgraded that. Be interesting to see if this has got a tension number on the back, because you can't find a manual. This seems to be quite a rarer model. Plenty of info on the 30, but this 35, there's not a lot of them around, I don't think. And no service manual that I could find, or at least not free one anyway. Yeah, the heatsink's different there. The chord switch looks the same. Same sort of graphic equalizer, everything, but they just at least put a different heatsink on the chips. I think some of these caps are different. I'm seeing some sticky goo on here, whether that's just a bit of flux or whether we got. I think that's just flux. Doesn't smell like cap juice, but we'll find out, I guess. Now was this, I think this was playing slow or something weird. It had different problems to the other one. But I think it was only the tape deck was faulty. Unlike the other one in which everything was faulty seemingly. Oh. 6 screws of course. I need to lift some of these up out. So we get the wires up, and we got, oh we do. We've got a 521 ZHW 278 and maybe an L on the end or something. So have we even got the same motor? It looks like it probably would be. Green label, 530 YD9B. I think it's the same counterclockwise, yeah, same revs I think. So let's hope this bit is, even though it's a different deck, should be the same connections. Yeah, the two switches there, one motor switch there. It, in theory, should have the same plug here. And you would hope, yeah, two head plugs, that you'd assume they would have designed that the same. Also got the power coming up in there, which we had in the other unit. Let's hope something similar. Because I'm going to have to swap that deck over probably, but this might have a motor issue too. If it, I think there's only one deck was playing slow, or so, or was it both? I cannot remember. That should be CT radio there, I thought. There's the volume at minimum. That makes it a nice change. Oh, we've got a... Well, we don't have any tuning controls, do we? Or LCD display. Well, we won't worry about listening to the radio then. Oh, maybe it was quiet on these. God, I can't remember. It's certainly not very loud. Oh, it's stopping and it's trying to change direction. And it's doing the old car cassette click, click, click each direction thing. That's a bit odd. It's done it again. I assume the tape is free enough. That one doesn't fast forward, barely rewinds. I think we've got very slippy belts in this, but let's try another cassette. That's not so bad with that one, but very quiet. That's making a bit of noise, that deck. The auto stop. That's very slow here, you can see the belt. Lots of wow. And it stopped again. So low volume. Really does not like that tape. Rather odd. That's working now. Got some random recordings on there, so I don't take any notice of the sound. Let's check this one for, we want to pause that, record it, put it in high speed dub, press play. Oh, don't tell me this one doesn't high speed dub either. Record switch is definitely in. This is what happened with the other one. The other one you could hear a slight change, but no, this one does not seem to do high speed dubbing either, assuming it's got it. Yeah, high normal dubbing speed. Oh, that's crazy, so don't tell me both of them are faulty. But you definitely have to have the record switch pressed, and it's no good just of course pressing the buttons on the decks if you got them out, because as I found out before, they don't press on the switch in the machine. Well, that's crazy. That's doing the pulsing thing. Unbelievable. They both got the same problem. Turn it off. Well, that's annoying. So much for using this to diagnose the other, because they both do the same thing. And it's stopped pulsing now. Oh, there it goes. It started again. Oh, that's unbelievable. So I may have to get another motor or find another machine that's got a motor just to test it. But we've still got the other problem. Why is it quiet? We've got a chip there which looks a bit either cooked or corroded. The writing's come off it a bit. I doubt we'd have a dead TA chip. They never die on these things normally. Let's rather than mess around with the radio, I'll just plug the CD player into this thing. I'm pretty sure it had full volume on other inputs. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, don't know if it's as loud as it should go, but it's close. It's loud anyway. Certainly not what you would call a loud boombox really, but for a smaller unit like this it's probably about right. Guess I should look up at the ratings. I mean, they've got 2 amp chips in them, they should be reasonable. But now we've got the problem of both tape decks are low. So I might have to look at the circuit of that other one, which I've still got a bit of here. I don't think we covered the tape input. I think we've got play signal. Record amp, so I've got part of the circuit. What's this? That's a power amplifier. I think that's what's hidden under these heat sinks. A couple of these LA4558, sounds like a Sanyo amp chip. Equalizer switch, preamp input switch. Oh, so input switching may be done in this 7784. Well, at least we've got the same chip in it. So I've either got dud caps around there, or that, I don't know why that chip looks like that. It just looks a bit suspicious to me that it's suffered some sort of physical harm at some stage. At least we've got another machine we can pinch one of them out of if I do suspect the chip's faulty, but it would be normally my last choice of anything to be faulty. Maybe some of these caps are shot from heat or something, but the fact both of those come across that chip suggests that, yeah, they're feeding into it. So I see corrosion, I think. Even this nice clean machine, there's corrosion, I think, on that resistor there. And there, oh yeah, this area that has been hit by something, I think, that one in particular. So is it leaky caps, is it? Am I seeing cap juice again? That's got a bit of green on it. Oh, it just busted off. So that's one way to find the faulty resistor, I guess. Poke the corrosion off it, and if it breaks in half. So this machine is another one that, oh, that one just snapped off as well. So we've got R408, R412 both broken off. Yeah, looking at the base of that cap, I think we might have leaky caps as well. So maybe that's an issue with these particular boxes. They may run particularly hot in there with the dual amp chips. So I'm going to get a lot more than double trouble out of these two by the look of it. That 100 mic seems to be open circuit, as does that 3.3 mic. I don't know, these caps are measuring at all. That's another 100, is it? Or another 3.3? Come on, it can't be that bad. That's a 3.7, that's probably fine. I don't know what value it is, but it's measuring something at least. That's possibly open circuit as well. So this is cap juice, I think, that's leaked everywhere. So all these blue coloured ones again, I think. There seem to be the dodgy ones too on that one. So that's probably fine. It'll be a lower value most likely. Get that transistor out of the way. These are probably your inputs for your CD. Both measure 4.5. Wow, these blue caps like to spew their guts by the look of it. That one's open circuit. What I wasn't doing last time is marking them. I don't know why, but for some reason I got out of the habit of marking these things. A little cross on them. I think they're all dead. To be honest, I think if they're blue coloured around this area, I'll just get rid of them anyway. And we probably better check the ones around the amp. Well, I wasn't expecting to be changing a heap of capacitors in these things, but there you go. There's a couple more down here are probably fine. Let's have a look around our amplifier, because it may well be running low as well compared to what it should. Yeah, I think that one's dud. These things just drop like flies, it seems. I guess people just keep running these things until nothing works anymore. That one's okay. That little fella seems to be open circuit. Let's check a couple down here. They're not looking very clean either. Ah, surely not. Yeah, that one's dud as well, I think. Near the boom switch, the super woofer switch. That one's okay. The doof switch, I guess it is. That is dead. The other one seems okay, but maybe we'll just change all the blue ones. Is that a capacitor? Oh, there's actually a capacitor under there. Oh, well, we're going to have to get the board out anyway. And we've got that thing dead. Where's the other one I snapped off there next to that capacitor? Might just put a little cross on the board. Might help me find it again. Wow, well, that's a lot of fun, isn't it? And we've got the same issue, which could be board damage or something, is why that motor's doing weird stuff in high speed mode, or is that it, one screw? Or it could be these motors that like to fail as well. What have we got here? All sorts of crazy stuff making life difficult. Well, I don't think we need the speakers anymore. Ah, that's not a plug at either end of that either. You tight. That's, what is this? Oh no, that's the switch. I thought something broke. Take the switch out. So we've at least got a bit more wire to play with. We've got a wire attached to this board. What a pain. And what else have we got here? That's that same connector, that one that goes across. Let's disconnect that again and pull it through. It goes between those transistors. Oh yeah, we can get rid of the tape deck connectors, which is always handy. And the power. Actually can't. Oh, the power's got 3 pins on this one, so they've changed something there as well. While I've got this is pre and plus and minus. Interesting. I just mainly want to look at the back of the board, and yeah, it doesn't look the best. Yeah, corrosion again. Is that the same lines that go? Oh no, this is to the speakers. Sort of similar. Here, there's corrosion everywhere. There's corrosion all around that chip. So, if you're thinking of buying one of these Hitachi boomboxes, think twice, because they're probably full of capacitor juice, which means they're going to be a bit of a pain to fix, and could be beyond it altogether. Oh well, that's what you get for chasing tension mechanisms. You buy some dodgy stuff you otherwise wouldn't have touched. I'm not a real fan of these Hitachis or the look of them. They're kind of cool, some of the big ones with their 3D super woofer stuff, but these little boxes probably about as exciting as one of those sharp dual cam things to look at. But I mean, it's a matter of taste. Some people probably love the things. But not my cup of tea, I'm afraid. I'll give this board a bit of a clean. There is a kind of, looks like flux all over it, but I don't know whether that's where whatever this stuff is has leaked out. Seems to come off, so I think that might all be capacitor juice. I don't think that's flux they left on there in the factory. I think there's a yellow coating. Some of that is definitely flux, but round here it just wipes straight off. So that's a toothbrush job. We'll do it in the cassette chip there as well, and the record switch. If you give it a bit of a scrub and just dab it off. The only reason to dab it is because trying to rub it will just shred your paper, and even with a rag or something it'll just catch on everything. So yeah, definitely black marks under the green lacquer stuff, which means the copper's getting tarnished under there. So these are definitely a box that if anyone's got them in their collection, it's probably time to do a preemptive cap change. If they're still working fine, I would be changing all those, at least those blue capacitors in them before they do this sort of damage. Chances are they've probably already done it. But yeah, when it's getting to the point of snapping resistors in half, or at least when you push on them, the leads are so corroded they break in half. That means it's getting very corrosive in there. And nothing like the smell of methane mixed with flux in the morning. Now, are these the two caps? Well, if that's a cap, it ain't a cap anymore. I guess it's still two plates with a bit of... Still, and the problem is it would read alright on a capacitance meter because there's two metal plates separated by an insulator, but there's no electrolyte there anymore. That one's actually fine. The one next to it is dead. I bet they're the same value too. That's some more of those 476.3, so we're definitely getting rid of both of those. That one I think measured alright, but I might get rid of the other blue ones. I want to check that 220 up there as well. I think it was alright in the other unit, and it's a black one, so it's probably not so bad. I guess we might as well, we can't even check that main filter cap. 0.08, that's fine. I reckon that's that other one. 1.1, so that's fine. Now I guess I should check this black one that's up against the heatsink. Oh, there's a little one hiding under the heatsink too. We better check that. 0.43, that's fine. Where did I see it? There's a little electrode just there. Not sure if that's the pins to it. I reckon it would be. 1.1. So I thought it's fine. There's another little one hiding under there. At least they're not blue coloured ones. I think those two pins there. 4.2 is probably fine. Not a fan of seeing electrolytic capacitors in amongst heatsinks and stuff like that, but I guess they had nowhere else to put them, and it would have got it well out of warranty. Whoops, you've got to watch these, the pots start dropping off. Got to be very careful not to press them on anything. I probably should, can you take these, you can take these knobs off. I think on this one I'll take the knobs off. Since we're going to be doing a bit of board work, and let's get rid of that horrible red one that likes to jump off at any opportunity. And I actually think the top side of this board probably wants to clean too. Down in there, and of course we had corrosion amongst this other stuff, so we've probably got cap juice. I say it looks even eating the text off that IC. Try and soak up what we can. Probably have to run a cotton bud up in there too, I think, and just I hope we get wipe the rest of it out of there. We'll dissolve it a bit. Well, hopefully the chip's alright. More than likely will be, even with a bit of corrosion damage or anything. It's just the parts around it are probably shot. But even just smearing this stuff around with a bit of methane, that probably cleans it up a bit, dissolves it or changes its composition a bit. Likely all the liquid part of it's all long dried up, so it probably doesn't matter as long as this thing doesn't get particularly damp or humid conditions. But nice to get rid of some of that if we can. Yeah, I don't know, there is a bit down that side of the board too, so I might just even rub it with the metho soaked paper towel just to remove any layer of stuff there that's coming out of these little caps. It's a little bit wet around that other cap, so we'll give a clean on underneath them too, probably when we remove them. Remove the caps. But at least I've got an idea what's going on in this thing now. A matter of collecting whatever capacitors we need. What do we have? A 3.3, a 100 at low voltage, which I probably haven't got. 3.3, 47. Okay, time to do some swapping, and I had to find a second-hand 100 mic because I'm completely out of them for some reason. Especially in the small size. Not that it has to be that small on this one, but board's gone a bit cloudy where I cleaned it. Oh, it doesn't smell too nice either. Oh yeah, you can see there's sort of corrosion and stuff underneath that. Actually, that's where that one of the broken resistors is. I think it was a, oh, that was a 47k, was it? Yeah, 47k. Let's get rid of that at the same time, since it's easier to replace it with the cap out of the way. But yeah, I doubt this solder is particularly good in this thing. It sure doesn't smell good. Get the remains of that out. Okay. It's loose, but it doesn't want to come. Yeah, that's one corroded lead. Yeah, yellow, purple, orange. And like I said, I probably should give each one of these spots a bit of a clean. It's no wonder the end of that chip's a bit dodgy looking. I don't have 1/8 watt resistors in that size, so these are going to have to stick up a little bit. And put a 100 mic 10 volt in. Oh, that's the old one. Definitely don't put that one in. But I'll toss these in the bin as I go. Negative on that side. But I ordered some cheap kits of electrolytics off eBay just to see what they're like. Be interesting to see what some of these no-brand Chinese things are like. They'd probably do the job for this sort of thing where I'm just patching up an old boombox. Not sure I'd put them in any critical situation, but they're, you know, normally not that high temperature, these things, but I guess if someone really has been running these things loud, and depending where they've been running them as far as the room, how hot the room or whatever it was in, they can probably get fairly warm inside. But this part here where they failed, I don't think that's anything to do with heat, because there shouldn't be much heat over here, unless the whole unit was really bad. But it's only, there seems to be these blue caps. It's more like the rubber seal fails on them or something. Well, these are too old to be that capacitor plague thing with the dodgy Chinese thing where they stole the wrong recipe or whatever and made a lot of terrible caps. These are late 80s, I think around 89 this one came out. And I'm having trouble, I think the track lifted a bit there. So normally these things are pretty bulletproof from that sort of era, unless, yeah, sometimes in hot, very hot places like televisions and stuff they can fail. But they are getting awfully old now, of course. So I don't think they're ever really made to last the sort of time they have lasted. Am I connecting to that or not? I can't see what I'm doing here very well. The board's such a mess, but I think that's got it. Yeah, just had to scrape off the copper a bit and bend the lead back this way. But that can also be because that corrosion makes it extra weak. But a lot of these boards are pretty easy to break the fine pads on. Might resolder a couple of these things while I'm at it. Oh yeah, so I just put the soldering iron on that and it just sucked all the solder clean off, so that copper track's probably quite corroded. You can often tell by the look of them that they're not the best, and that's what happens. And that's why I resoldered it, because it was probably not a great joint. Sometimes you just got to replace the components just because the leads are terrible on them, they're all corroded, and it's a lot quicker to replace it than fiddle around trying to clean it up. In theory you probably should resolder the whole sort of area where these caps have leaked. And there's another one that's pulled right back. Oh, got it again. That one's partially done, so sometimes they'll do that even on a good board, but they'll definitely do it on a corroded one. But it's good preventative maintenance and may well solve an issue that you might have to deal with in a minute if one of these things isn't connected too well. Chip seems alright. It was mainly just another one. That one's still not quite perfect. Only that one component there, which is probably another resistor or something that's about to rust through. I think it's R407 maybe. It just seems to be that corner of the chip. Well, we found two dud caps there, so it's not surprising really. Where did I just do that? Fucking lost it already. Oh, that's why, because it's soldering away. Left a bit. Must have fallen out of the solder sucker or whatever. I'm looking for an empty hole, can't see it. Because these leads have been bent over too, just makes it all the harder to get them out without damaging anything. That is negative that way. That is a 3.3, is it? Yeah. Doesn't look bad, that one, but that's not saying much with these things. Are they my 3.3s? 4.7. 3.3. Where are you? There's a little white bit on the negative side. That's C408L, and we just replaced C409. I think the L is just a channel designation, L and R, so that they can draw the same circuit basically and just change the numbers to L or R since they're all identical. I've got another dud there. Where's that, near that connector? Not that the tapes are a bit quiet. We still don't know if this will fix it. It should, but well, they'll both go through the same chip, so that was the, well, from what that little bit of circuit I had, from what I could see, it sounded like the chip switches, which makes sense from one deck to the other. Well, they must have a way of detecting which one's playing, I guess. I don't know. There's probably a diode off the switch on the deck or something. 47. These should all be 47s except one maybe. That was there. That's a bit green next to that. Even though it doesn't look bad. That area of the board is a little corroded, I think, as well. Ooh, did that capacitor just move or did it break off? I think it just moved. Little green thing there's a capacitor, looks like a resistor. And yeah, both of these stink pretty bad, these boomboxes. And the next thing I've got to try and do is find another motor potentially to test these things. I was hoping this one would do the other one, but of course it's shot as well. Or at least it's got the same fault. Whether that's, I'm pretty sure it is the motor, but yeah. They stuck this pink wire right where the cap is. And there's probably glue all over the solder. Just to make it more difficult. That is a 47 as well, I think. Yeah. 47. It's C513L. In case anyone cares. These days you don't really have to give out the part numbers because you can just, I guess not everyone has an ESR meter, but if you're repairing these things you probably should have one. Best way to find all the bad caps. I'll put that bit of solder. There's another joint there's not the best. And it's not even taking solder off. No, it's terrible. But if you see these sort of dark coloured tracks, it's always worth a check. Any joint that looks bad on the surface, and that one's definitely corroded. So the solder can still be sitting there looking perfectly fine, but there's a layer of corrosion between it and the actual copper, which is why it lifts up like it does. And there's probably not much of a connection there at all. It could be high resistance. It's certainly on its way to being an intermittent or something. What else have I marked? That one, those two. I think that's the main bit. That's another 47. I thought there was another one here. That was just a... Like I say, ideally you probably should change them all. If they're this blue colour, probably should do the whole unit really, but let's just see if we can get this thing going first. And like I say, if I was a collector of these Hitachis, I think I would be going through them all. I do have one other Hitachi here, which I bought for a couple of different tension mechs, which I've never seen in the flesh before. And I've never finished the video because I had to get an IC for it, and I now have the IC for it. Because I think it actually does have one of these TA or something chips dead in it. If my fault finding was correct, so I'll look in that one and see what sort of caps it's got, I guess. And I might even open that up just so I can see if I've got another cassette motor. Hopefully it runs off the same voltage and the same direction as these, but they're completely different tension mechs in it. That's a 47, that's a 503L. Oh, I've got another resistor to change. I must remember to do it. They're not always taking the best. Get in there. Bit of flux and stuff's gone a bit white from the metho. Let's make sure that is only flux between those pins. Yeah, that amp chip doesn't look as pretty as the other one. Might even resolder those. See what they're like. I think they're alright. But often any joint that doesn't look nice and shiny is a potentially bad one. That one's not connected to anything. They're the two caps I think I want to get rid of next. So no point resoldering them until we change the cap. Which one of these was dodgy? Because that one's making liquid sort of noises. I think that's the one that, yeah, still measured good. Might be wrong about that, I can't remember. I've actually marked them both, so I think they're both the same. 470, 6.3, yeah, 470. Which must be these ones. Guess I should give that a clean. No, they're actually quite clean there, to be honest. No sign of anything. Yeah, it's hard to tell. A lot of that, I think, is just flux that didn't get cleaned off at the factory. Oh, there's a bit of paper towel or something there too. Oh, come on. C504 left and right. So it's a wonder this didn't sound like one of the amp channels was down. So, yeah, I think they were fine. Unless these might actually go to the subwoofer. That's right, one of these amp chips runs the subwoofer, so it could just be the subwoofer was... I don't know if you'd even notice if on it, because it feeds both channels into it, I think, so probably wouldn't even notice if it was down on one channel or whatever. It's probably make the whole thing just sound a bit quieter. And where do they chuck them in the rubbish? That little one next to them. You can hear that one hissing a bit. And again, really hissing. As long as I put heat on it, it hisses that one. Now, that could have been that method I just put on there, I guess, but should have dried in this weather. Yuck. It is another 47. Oh, let's leave some muck behind as well. Yeah, not ideal jamming that up against the heatsink. But I'm not sure this thing's even going to do another hour's work in its life. At least while I have it. Now, was there another 3.3? No, it's a 4.7. What have I missed? Is that one? No. That's a 3.3. 100. Oh, they're the inputs. I thought there was another dud somewhere. Oh, that's a 3.3. I wonder if I was going to get rid of that, or what's this one? Oh, it's the 100 mic. Yeah, I think I might have even marked that one. I can't remember now. Let's get rid of it anyway because it's blue. And it is a C408R. I think the other one was what I was going to put in the place of the 100 mic, a 220 mic instead. And we've got one resistor left, which is somewhere in here. The 22... It's not that one, is it? No, it's got the right kind of colours. I've lost it. Oh, there it is. Broken one there. R412, I think it is. Be that little thing there, I think. Well, that lead moved around, so that's a good sign. That one, not so much. Still can't see it. It's pretty well camoed, that one. 20, oh no, was it 3.3k? Orange, red, that's it. tend to just mount one end up a bit. You can mount them like properly with the whole body straight up in the air with the other lead bent over, but or if you wanted to do a really sympathetic restoration, you'd get 1/8 watt resistors, the same size as the originals, and that is the old 3.3. So that is all that replaced, I think. All bad caps, 2 dud resistors, the board clean. No idea if that chip's going to be any good. It should be. I think it's just eating the writing off it, but you never know if it's got up inside the chip package. They're pretty goo proof normally, but sometimes stuff can eat its way up inside the chip body. I'm going to just screw that board back in for now. So we've got our record switch and everything. Let's plug everything back in and see what it does. Anyway, let's get the tuner plugged in eventually, but that'll do for the moment. What was this? Where does that go? That goes, I think it goes to the battery switch or something, and not even 100% sure, but it says something about, mix mic. Oh, that must be the mix mic socket on the back, not just the battery AC or whatever that other switch is. I guess that would go into the power supply more likely, that part of it. Oh, microphone, if we can be bothered putting that back. Tape decks are probably going to need new belts, but let's see if we've got any audio out of them, I guess. Because they were doing some weird stuff with that Phillips tape. Oh, is this, we got record down, so that's going to stop things going back. Let's get back into a better viewpoint. No, what's the name input? That's tape. Definitely louder than it was. Two channels. Let's double check that one again. That's pretty good. Seems to have both channels running and more volume than we had before. More up there with the radio, I think. So that's a good thing, and I guess we're still not going to have any high-speed dubbing or anything. What do? We put pause on, that, and we're in the completely wrong mode. Oh, it runs now. Isn't that weird? It seems to work well. Well, maybe it is a board fault. Maybe that is a fault on the board after all, because going over the board fixed it in this one, at least so far. It's a bit intermittent in the other one, so. But it doesn't have the wow and the weird, oh, this doesn't rewind at all, just goes in auto stop. Brilliant. Oh, we've got to get out of dubbing mode. Yeah, it sounds alright. Well, that is interesting. So could one of these resistors or something be related to the fault in the other one? I have no idea. Probably not, but same transistors and pot arrangement there. But of course it comes down through here somewhere into the switch. Oh well, let's hook this wire back up, because I think we can largely reconnect everything other than the decks. But I think we just need to put belts. Well, I'm not sure that auto stop could be an auto stop fault, being one of those mechanisms. Actually, I want to pull those decks out anyway because I might as well get a photo for my collection of tension mix and stuff. Hopefully one day I'll do a little booklet on that and probably a video to go with it, because I'm slowly getting all the tension mix and starting to understand a bit more about them. But they're not as common in the modern world as they used to be, that's for sure. Trying to find some of the types is quite difficult. Or I can find manuals that tell me what has them, but finding the units is the problem. Now where did this sit? On there, I think it was. And we do have a function switch or whatever to put back. Although I think I had to get those now. I can leave that because I've got to get those other wires in. But this one's a lot quicker at least. Now that I understand a bit more about it, so I know things like turn it back out of dubbing mode, or high-speed dubbing when you want to actually... I probably shouldn't put that back in place. Oh, I probably can. When you want to play them back and that sort of thing. Now, do we have a... power would be nice. We do have reel running. We don't have reel running... We have reel, the reel runs, this mech, I think uniquely it runs through this gear in play. Yeah, so if we have a busted belt, we lose rewind fast forward, but we don't chew a tape in this one. And the belt is missing. Don't tell me it's the second one that's chewed up under the capstan, because it's gone missing again. Surely I can't have two of them doing the same thing. Well, that's the thing, these things are twins. Get the torch under there this time, and I can't say for sure, but is there a belt stuck under there? The pulley doesn't look quite right. It's not chewed up underneath the capstan. Oh, yes it is. It's actually all chewed up in the gear. Oh, lovely. When you rotate it around, what looks like a bit of grease on the gear turns out to be belt. Oh, well, these things are basically twins, alright. They got all the same issues by the look of it. I guess they're the same age and they're the same machine, so why not? It always used to be rare to see the same fault twice in anything, just about. Well, at least we know some belt sizes already. Now we've got to get the... that capstan, I think again we've got to fiddle with this lever. This is a bit different. This one you can actually see it lifting the pause where that little piece is that sometimes pops off these. Well, on these ones they just fall out. It's not the one that pops up underneath the capstan and scrapes on that, but it's the same type of mechanism. But this is all out in the open, this one, so I can actually see a bit more. But we'll get that out of the way because I think the capstan really needs it out of the way to slide up. Let's hope we don't have all these random things. Well, this little slide lever was sticking in the other one. No idea what was going on there, but it kind of fixed itself. And I thought maybe this deck was in the wrong mode or something, being an auto reverse, but it doesn't really have like a lift up mech or anything. And I looked back on the video and I did actually run the thing when the pause was faulty, so it's not like the deck hadn't been turned around and gone into a different position or something, so no idea why I did that. Sometimes something just gets a little bit out of whack and then it comes right again and you're never none the wiser what the hell actually happened. As long as it keeps going, you don't really care, but they do some weird things sometimes. That is the tiniest little split washer there, and there's another washer under that. So often, this one's not going to play the game. Often if you push it down and push back up, you'll get it. This is, what's it hitting on? It's not hitting on anything, but it feels like it's hitting on something. Has it got just a lot of crud on it maybe? I think that's, yeah, just I need to pull a bit harder. God, a lot harder. Really? You don't normally get a cassette capstan so grotty that it won't come through the hole, but I think we've got one. There's a bit of lumpy stuff coming off there, I think, or like a hair or something wrapped around it maybe. I don't know what that was. Bit of lubricating metho won't hurt, I guess. Yeah, now it's moving. Is there a washer on there or not? Maybe there isn't one. That's just my imagination, I think. It's just got a piece of plastic that sticks up on top of the other one. And there's our belt. Yeah, all chewed up. I think there's a gear there. So none of it is actually in the pulley. I thought a bit might have been in the pulley, but no, it's just all chewed up on the front. There is a little washer there by the look of it. I think we'll get the acetone out again and just dissolve what we can. Is there a gear under there? I have no idea what's under there. It's got to be a gear, isn't it? I thought they ran in something, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, no, there is a gear, I think. Wow. A gear load of belt goo. That is just stuck on there. It's like actually jammed under that washer, I think. So that bit of belt semi-intact. Oh my god. Well, the electronics weren't as bad as the other one anyway, but the mechanics are probably worse. So probably the whole belt's somehow dragged into there. Oh wow, what the... And sort of, I don't know what is going on there. It's like turned into a thinner belt and just... Yeah, this piece is coming. I can't believe there's actual belt somehow wrapped in, stretched really long and thin. Yeah, that's just totally tied up around there. I'm not sure how good we're going to be able to get this clean, but I guess I might have to put a bit of toothbrush on there or something and scrub it out. My god, there's still belt stuck to the top of that, I think. Yeah, there's something still there, I think. What the hell is going on? It's just rubber coated everything. See that gear turn on there? I don't know. It does that. That's another thing I can do, is scrape all the teeth. I think I'm going to have to try and get every little groove clean, and there's still some stuck to this white bit at the bottom. Because it's still kind of rubbery, it's not full goo, so that's actually going to push against things and stop the gear turning properly. Probably that's the sort of thing would add some wow to your capstan. Oh, see, there is that gear there. I thought there was a gear on there. That's the one there that runs the play, I think, so it probably wouldn't matter if that gear's not running 100%, but it's certainly not going to do the capstan much good if that's lumpy where it runs against that gear. I'll just try and use a bit of... I haven't had to resort to acetone on a toothbrush yet, but I might have to on this one. At least put some metho on there. I think most of that's coming off. The washer's gone back down, which I don't want. Ah, still, big stringy bit coming out. Where the hell did that come from? Must have been down in here. Ah, there's more down in there maybe. Oh god. Yeah, there is, I think. Oh, don't lose that washer. That actual gear piece lifts. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, it goes in a couple of little... Oh, it's a little... couple of pins sticking out of it for a piece on the capstan to rotate it, catch it and rotate. So that's actually come up pretty good, I think. Check it on it with a magnifier. There's a little bit of dirt in the teeth, but no actual lumps on it. Maybe one lump of rubber. Oh, looking at it now, it's kind of pathetic. It's that small, but still looks big in the magnifier. I Just scrape those bits that got a bit of black on them. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think there's a bit of muck on the other side where it's sat as well, no doubt, in the hole in the bushing. Yeah, that bit is black. Because the washer's dropped off and stayed there. Definitely doesn't feel the best, so I might just clean that whole shaft. I think I brought up a little bit more black stuff. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's getting better. Oops, don't lose that washer. Come here, you little. So put a little bit of lighter oil, I think, on that shaft. That's more than enough. I'll take half of that off, I think. I think I cleaned that pulley out. I hope I did. Just make sure there's no dead belt in that one. It should have fallen off and got sucked in there, I think. And what's the motor pulley look like? A bit hard to tell because it's black. Not a clear one or white one, this one. A little bit of dirt coming off. So I need 2 belts for that deck. That's a pretty good fit. That's going to go across to the motor. Was this the upper or lower? I've forgotten. Upper, I think, so I need to put that one in last. What did I do? I think I went over the motor first. Should have unplugged this wiring, I guess. Especially since I need to get a photo of it. Put that on the bottom slot of the pulley. Easy to get it over the motor, not so easy to get it in the bottom one. There you go. That moved, didn't it? Oh, that's all good. Try and keep the tension on them so they don't fall off the other pulley. That's it. Now we can put our other one on. I don't know which way is easier with that, probably the same thing. Pull it back. Beautiful. And turning one side should turn the other side with no slippage. Yeah, that's nice and tight. Well, let's hope that's all there is to this one. We've got to put our lever back. Let's see if this one does anything weird. That goes under the pause button and under this other little lever that comes from the other deck. Yeah, this mech, I'm pretty sure is different in this part. Well, this is why this mech's different, I guess, because it's got the other, it's got to have a different lever because it's got the different, and that just flicks the pause off when that gets pressed. Or when this lever goes like that, we lose our pause, and it doesn't stick. Because the other one was sticking there somewhere, and every time I press pause, just it was held off, it was denied. Oh, something's rubbing. If I put some wiring where I shouldn't. Oh, it's this These 3 wires have gone under the deck, so that's all it is. Oh, hang on. We don't have any play. We're still not rotating there. Ooh. We're still not rotating. What the hell's going on with this one? How the friggin' bells come off? Or did I not get that on the right bit? Oh. Some moron didn't put the washer back on the capstan, did they? So when no wonder the capstan was scraping on things, it was dropping. Well, it's the first time for everything. Usually I'm good at remembering, but with all the other distractions, that's what happens. You forget to clip it back on. I'm usually pretty good at avoiding that. Oh well. Getting slack in my old age. Better get the oil off there too. That's the other thing you should always do is clean everything. I'm going to give these heads an extra good clean these days, because I always seem to miss a bit, even though it looks perfectly clean. Certainly plenty came off that one. But ironically, this one actually played alright. Well, maybe it wasn't as loud as it should have been or something, but it seemed to be doing its job fine. And then you get one that looks perfectly clean and sounds terrible. They must have new invisible oxide or something these days. That's got dust all over the erase head. That's just a little permanent magnet one. Is that dirt on the sides? And this actually has a couple of streaks either side of the head. Yeah, again, that's, I don't know if that brown stuff was, the streaks looked like black stuff. So there was a bit of brown came from somewhere. And we'll give these capstans a really good clean, because they got rings on them. Well, at least this deck had a bit of use on both tape decks by the look of it. So this boombox must have had a bit of use over the years for what it was intended for. We can just turn those capstans as we go. From the back. Just to make sure we get it all going. Yeah, quite a bit of irony oxide coming off there. And I think I did that one, didn't I? Yeah, did we get all of that one? Pretty well. That's drying up and showing a few little dirty patches, but nothing major. Okay, let's try again. Leave everything in place for a change. Hold that. We've got our auto stop. Fast forward. Rewind. That'll auto stop if we don't do something to keep that happy. That doesn't care, I don't think, unless we hold that. Then it turns off. I'll better check the other one before we put a tape in it. Oh, naughty, naughty, no clicking when I'm using the other deck. As they like to do, these technicians. Pause works. Oh, I'll put on pause, press play here, auto, what is it, synchro dubbing I should say, it works. Well, at least to that extent. Don't do that. Oh, we've got no speakers, have we? First thing to check when there's no audio is, do you have any speakers plugged in? Oop, now we've got, wow, have we got wires poking on this one? Possibly. No, I think it's alright. Oh gosh, they've made it worse. That bell does not look heavy. What's the bet I haven't got that on the pulley? I think it is. Yeah, the belt in the other one was a little lumpy looking. Starting to wonder if these belts aren't dodgy. That's terrible. That's the second one of those belts I put on one of these machines, and it's been worse with the new belt than the old one. Yeah, a lot of wow there. Gotta wonder about the proximity of these big magnets to your cassette. I might have to pull the belts out again and put the old one back in just to see if that's what it is. I can actually see it on this belt. It's thin, probably too thin, and it's got a lumpy bit in it. Oh my god, this is the roughest, and it's twice the size. Ah, it's Chinese rubbish off eBay for you. So these belts are definitely crud. I did wonder what the quality was going to be like, but obviously this batch are particularly bad. I've had a good run with them, I must admit, but I think it might be part of the problem with the other one of these. Because I could see the belt doing the same thing. Oh, what's that? There's some crud on it. Or is that just from here? But it's quite rough there. Oh yeah, look at that rubbishy bit of cutting they did there. And part of it looks like it's either out of square or it's somehow thicker. It feels terrible. Yeah, that bit there I think is a bit wider or something. It's rough as. So yeah, eBay rubbish special belts. But like I say, they have been surprisingly good. Problem is I think I mixed up all the different kits. But I know one of them had a few dodgy ones in it, so actually I might still have some fresh kits here. That's I don't know if they're long enough. I think the ones with those little blue and white labels on them have been alright, but some of them I got were from elsewhere. And this might be one of the elsewheres. They charge you the same, but I think I already threw one or two in the bin because they looked a bit dodgy. Lost a few small ones, so we never seem to use them, so I don't think I'll worry about those. I mean, they are nice and cheap. That's actually bigger. Well, at least I needed some more reasonable sized belts. That's about identical, so that should be the one. And I'll keep them aside because I need to do I think half the problem with that other deck is it's got something similar with its belt, because it would have come probably out of the same batch. And that belt we're going to throw in the rubbish. Although I do need to find that size old. Let's just throw it in the rubbish for now, so I know it's in the rubbish. I can easily get it back out for a minute. But I definitely don't want to accidentally put that in the machine again, in a machine, because the amount of grief it causes you to have rubbish parts. This one at least looks alright. Feels alright. I didn't even really take much notice of that other one. That other motor jerky thing was not the belt, because that was on the original belt. It's got a few twists in it still. Even that one looks a little... don't know. It's hard to tell. I'll just give it a bit of a clean since I had my fingers and grease all over it a bit. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as that other one though. Now where did that other belt go? I just saw it sitting somewhere. Are we in the pulley? We are, but we're on the wrong side, on the upper rather than the lower. And you can't really tell at hand speed usually if it's bad or not. You've got to really wind it at full motor speed, I think. That's looking a lot better. It seems to run pretty smoothly. The other one, you can see it varying a bit. Didn't run too smooth. Oh, I guess I shouldn't complain. I've got an awful lot of belts out of those kits. But it's not another variable you need. There's enough hassles with these old machines without having new parts that are dodgy. But I might have to restock now that I know these are a thing. I might restock on some, although I probably won't do too many more of them. What has happened here? My tape mount's busted off. Oh, brilliant. That's what you get for fiddling with old plastics too much. If the screw is long enough, yeah, I think that's. Actually, if I put a longer screw in, is it going to make it? It might just hold it, or I'll put a slightly longer screw in. That'll probably hold that to the bit below it. Okay. Oh, we're on pause. I was going to say, where's my... Let's try it again. If I can find my tapes. That's better. That's a bit better. So that set of belts looks fine. A little bit there, but not as bad as before. That one's certainly a bit cleaner. Belt, I can see it bulging a little bit. I wonder if these are not noticeable on the music, but you can hear it on the tone tape. And if you watch it, it does possibly have a little bulgy patch. So I might have to get some more of those blue labelled belts, I think, because I'm getting low on a lot of common sizes. Or I'll just stock up on some Wagner ones, I think. Once you know the sizes that are commonly used, you can just buy a couple at a time if need be. But I might even have to come back to these machines and order a couple of proper 80s from Wagner on my next order. But I think this is basically a goer. Let's try a bit of quick dubbing here. So what do? Put pause, record. Notice it a bit more on the faster speed, because you can see the belt moving more. So that, I think that belt is dodgy too. And high speed dubbing really brings it out, because it's twice the, or if it's double the speed, it's double the wobble, I guess. No, not real great. But I think that is it for this machine. It is basically a goer again. I've got a photo of this mech, because technically that is actually another variant of the Tanishan, just because it's paired with a 21Z instead of a 21. I'm back on the first Boombox, and I was about to swap the decks and just realised I've actually swapped positive and negative on the motor around. Still a lot of wow. The belt is still shaking around quite a bit. At least I think there is. Okay, let's try some dubbing. Weird as. That's not the motor, I don't think. It's just random, this thing. Yeah, we're pulsing again. So I wonder if some of these caps were replaced around that chip or something. Could that have anything to do with it? I wouldn't have thought so, but crazier things have happened. Well, at least we proved the point. It's not the motor. I was starting to think it could be the motor, but that's the problem. You just don't know for sure. Certainly a weird one, but let's, now that we know these other blue caps fail, I might as well check them around this chip. Is that one, I think? That's a black one anyway. 2.2 or whatever, that might be one. Oh, 13. It's getting fairly high if that's the cap. So that's that one. I think that's the electrode there. That thing's open circuit. That must be it, and that's the ceramic cap. That's 18, that's dead, so there's dead caps all over the place by the look of it. That's a 3.3, 34. I don't know that that IC has anything to do with motor speed, but there you go. 7.2, it's probably not too bad. 19, that one's cactus. .7, that might be getting up there. Oh yeah, for a 47, I'd say that's not too damn good. Let's check a 47, yeah, definitely high. That's 13. Well, that says even that 0.47 in the radio is completely open circuit. So these are definitely a recap type job. 33. Wow. So where was that? In the tone circuit graphic equalizer, so called. That one's dead as well. I think this unit just is full of dead caps. 22. If it's blue, it's dead in this unit, I think. That's a 10 mic. Definitely high for one of those. Got one near the bass boost here. That measures open circuit. If I'm actually making contact with it. No, 5.8. That's not so bad. Okay, got all the caps done on this one. Certainly made it sound a bit better. I got some magic in me. Every time I touch that. Certainly a lot louder than it was before. But another interesting problem I noticed. Here's one tape deck's quite a bit faster than the other, but of course looks like these 1021 mechs, ones with the basic auto stop, need a smaller pulley because they've actually got a smaller capstan in them as well. And the motor out of the other mech, which is in here, has two equal sized pulleys which are about equal to the larger of these two. So when they put their TN21Z with the other auto stop on it, they can put two equal pulleys on. Obviously matches the TN521 mech. But these older, well, they're not really older, but these more primitive mechs actually have a different size pulley. So if you get two tape decks after you change the motor, one goes faster than the other off the same motor, that's all it is. But this thing is really cranking out the sound now, which is something. But we still got the motor issue. After I changed the caps to the other one, it seemed to fix that pulsing motor issue. But this one is still doing the same thing. So now we're pulsing again. So it starts off, so it makes me wonder if it isn't something heating up in here, or not sure what's going on, but it starts off not much faster. Now we've got the shakes back. And by the time I was fiddling around this last night, it was back to like high speed. But a lot of that pulsing going on. We know most likely not the motor, because that motor ended up working fine in the other one. But unless both these motors have got some weird issue with them, pretty unlikely, I think. So not sure. I had a look with the oscilloscope on this thing, and there is a lot of pulsing going on, especially on those two speed A and B pins on the motor. But that still doesn't really tell you whether it's because the motor's pulsing that it's doing that, or whether that's the cause of the motor pulsing. I mean, the voltage comes back out of this thing, so I still don't fully know. I'd like to see a data sheet on these motors, how they're actually supposed to work. I've got no real way of measuring the 2000 or 4000 RPM. I guess we could measure the frequency if it was actually stable enough to see if in dual speed it's doubling the speed coming off the test tape. Certainly a strange fault, but I'll put the original motor back in this one, I think. So I've at least got the correct pulley on it. That one was making some funny noises, but sometimes they do get a bit noisy with no load. I guess the other thing is, can we get the back off this motor and see if it's got any fried electrodes in the motor? Problem is, you've got to press against the circuit board basically, and the fragile part of it sticking out of the case to even try to dislodge this other piece. I think it's either bending or lifting a bit. Yeah, it's coming. I'm just having to squeeze on the circuit board. I'm trying to, gotcha. I pressed on that negative terminal, whatever it is, has a big blob of solder there. But this one probably could do with a lubrication. Uh-oh. What is that? I thought that was an inductor or something. It's like a spring. Oh, it's a heat transfer spring. Copper spring, so we can get the heat from that transistor to the back of the motor body by the look of it. That's a bit of an odd one. Well, let's pull it apart for the hell of it anyway. Although then we've got the problem of all the getting the brushes back on, although someone had a good idea of mounting it, I think. Might have to take the pulley off and then sliding everything into the motor together. Might be a smart way to take it apart as well, for that matter. I think is that soldered to the case? Oh, something just moved. Uh-oh. I think that was just the pulley sliding down. Yeah, the pulley's actually not that tightly fitted. I don't think this motor slides out. It must do, surely. Here it comes, I think. Something's moving. The plastic's going up on one side. Is this board attached? Don't think so. It's so easy to break these circuit boards. Yeah, it's tipping like it is attached there. Let's see if this board does come out, or if that's what's holding everything. What are they doing? Are they twisted or something? They are twisted, I think. So someone's, I guess, to stop the board moving while it got soldered onto the motor or something. Try desoldering it again, now that I've twisted it. Now we're getting a gap around it. Oops, a bit of solder still stuck there. I think that's loose. I think that's loose too. That's definitely lifting. Let's try and get under. There's a flat here we can get under. So, yeah, we're definitely off the motor pins, but got it finally. Oh, okay, I'm a moron. There is a solder. It's soldered down to the case there. Okay. Oh, I learned a lesson. There's a third pin to unsolder there. That's why this thing wouldn't lift. Now that's where the brushes are. Oh, so these are a better design as far as that goes. I wouldn't mind lubing this thing properly. Might put a little dab of oil in there. So at least we don't have to worry about lubrication issues. And we can get, I actually better put a little bit of oil on that bit. Oh, I see, there's slots. I meant to bake something up. Up these plastic slots, eh? So you can push that back. The factory probably had a tool for doing it. Where's the capacitor? I was going to shove a capacitor lead up there, that might do it. Doesn't take much. Push that to that side, that to that side. It should just drop in there, other than this screwdriver was probably in the way a bit. There it is. Oh, the capacitor lead's in the way. That's it. That's how you do that, and then we can put it back in the case. Was a great idea, though you've got to hold it, I think, so the put your finger over the hole, I think, to stop this other piece shooting up into the magnet. That was what I did last time, I think, and we've got to rotate it to the right position, hopefully without messing up those brushes. Can easily check with the multimeter if that's intact. Which it is, so I think we're good. But what I'm interested in is that little capacitor any good? Do we have something silly like that out on this thing? .5 is probably fine. .7. Yeah, it's well within range. Could we have a dodgy chip or something? We could, but generally this motor looks alright. Oh, better unsolder that mount there where it goes. And we do have a bit of solder between the pins. I think I might as well clean this whole board off because I've got to solder all the wires back in. Actually, I'm still unsoldered the wrong thing there. It's this back bit. That's the steel of the motor body that it attaches to. So let's make it like a new one again. I guess we could twist those back on as well. Just to hold the board fully down. Solder a little earth tab on. I think the rest of the solder's pretty good in here. Probably won't have to redo the transistor. It doesn't look like it's been over hot. Or overly hot. Yeah, all looks pretty good. Put the little heatsink thing back. And of course with a little cross for the trim pot. Where's the bloody trim pot though? That ain't in the right spot, so I've got that upside down, I think. That's the cut for the trim pot. That doesn't make any sense. That was definitely the circuit board side because it's got all the marks where that was pressed in. Heatsink has to go there. Oh no, there is a second little... Oh, there's a second cut in the rubber there. They must have made them for different ones. And we want our, probably should have marked that on the outside. Pretty obvious where the AB label and all that goes, so actually get the trim pot hole in the right spot, or close enough. So I'm not sure how you're meant to press these home exactly. Big pair of pliers maybe. Gently squeeze it into that, I think. I think that's where it goes. Looks fairly even. And put the pulley back on, which was about there. Oh well, we'll swap that back onto the right deck. Or put it back on this deck, I guess, is the one. And I'm going to have to try and work out how exactly these motors are supposed to work. Doesn't even distort anymore when you turn it right up. Before it was sort of distorting and carrying on. Got the original motor back in this thing, and I'm sure it'll be just the same as before.
Stars never start, now I'm ready to quit. And let me start to jump, so tell me I hold on. Drive is strong, but the battle's too long. No fighting in me.
Yeah, making that funny noise again. But yeah, I don't know exactly how these motors are meant to work, but maybe shorting the two terminals together, or via a different resistance or something. What's that, about a 1k pot I think they got between them? Because both those transistors, well, I guess that's something I should check. Are both those transistors open circuit? Bit hard to tell for sure. But the fact there's different voltages on both those pins would suggest that is the case. We know the 0.6 volts disappears on that one. That should turn the other one off. But was there some other rubbish feeding into there as well? No, I think that's all feeding into the base of those transistors. So if that transistor's open, that second one, it's just the two terminals apart. So shorting it out actually is what gets into slow speed, that's right. So is there lack of an open circuit there or something? I guess the only other thing I could quickly do is what we did originally and rip that other wire out. Now that I've made a nice neat job of everything. Oh, better turn the power off because I've still got that on. What does it do with this disconnected, or the other one, or maybe both of them, I guess. Of course it wants to go straight onto the earthed, no doubt earthed body of the motor. Yeah, it's definitely earthed because we soldered that bit on. It's not pulsing at least it's bad. I think it's just a bit of mechanical stuff with the belt. That's alright, it goes full tilt. Oh, one good thing is it makes the fast forward and rewind a lot faster. So we could put a switch there to get turbo fast forward and rewind because it's normally very slow. So that's certainly an improvement because it's not pulsing. Now in theory, disconnecting both of these I've got no audio. Interesting, so it doesn't, what the hell? So it now mutes in high speed dub but runs fast in normal mode. Well, that's one thing I didn't check, I don't think, when I had that first wire hooked up. Well, I don't think I've ever hooked just the pink wire up either. Still fast in normal mode and mutes in, so that must be feeding back into a mute line or something. I'm not sure what's going on there. speed doesn't change, obviously. When we go to normal speed, we switch in that 1K pot. So I guess when we don't have the 3.9K there, it goes even faster, which we can probably prove. And it's not pulsing. So if I put a 3.9K there, speed comes down. But we're not pulsing. Whereas if I take that out, put the pink wire on it, I can actually connect to it. Yeah, it's making that clicking noise again. Which you'd almost swear was a faulty motor, so that's an interesting one. So if it's meant to have a 3.9K across it, with that transistor open, the transistor still has to be on or leaky or something, because it's seemingly, well, something's pulsing. I wonder if there's something, could something be getting to the base of that transistor? Could the transistor be leaky? It's got to be something in that circuit, I think. Guess I should have really put the tone cassette in there, would have been a better test. It's interesting, you can hear it in the rewind. It actually speeds the rewind up and you can actually hear that pulsing sound in it, which is kind of crazy. But I guess if the motor is pulsing, ooh dear, I think I nearly stretched that in half. Yeah, you can hear it there. Back to the police siren. It's that little one there. Can I do this without unplugging everything? Which is, yeah, that second one there. Touching the power off, I did. And yeah, it really stinks of cap juicer in there, so maybe the capacitors have done something. Maybe there's some leakage on the board or something, who knows. Let's get the little so-and-so out of there. Now this should be stuck in fast mode. It's not as bad as it was, that's just the belt, I think. Not as bad. So that's with the transistor disconnected. So the transistor's got to be leaky, or there's voltage being fed into it from the other transistor, which is that 120K resistor there. Well, so that transistor in this mode, I think it's open circuit, isn't it? It's switched off. So there could be some sort of stray voltage, I guess, or something's not being pulled down. We really need to get that going. Ground and nothing and nothing, which is what we should be getting. That transistor should be off because there's no base voltage. Ooh, 0.3 volts on there, really? 0.3 volts. That could be our issue. That's 0.1 on the other end. Oh, now it's down to 0.1. And it's disappeared, I think. 6 volts there. 6 volts there. Should that be right? Oh yeah, because that pot is still connected. The pot is still connected to the motor. So it's going to have voltage across because we've disconnected the transistor regardless. Whatever's on pin 6 will just be on the other side of that pot. We've got R504. It's got 6 volts and probably the same on the other side, is it? 8.9 on the other. So that's joining the motor. Everything seems to be running pretty good. That's why I think we have a leaky transistor, but it didn't measure as leaky. Seemingly good base junction. And I bet if I put it back in, it'll still do it. We'll put another one in its place. What is it? 2SA 844E. Well, I put a A950, 2SA 950 in there, and I think it might be certainly better than that police siren. Still a bit of wow in that, but that I think is that belt. Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's pulsing now. It didn't sound like it was on that weird thing with the rewind. Sounds more like it. Okay, I think the only way to prove it is I have to put that old one back in again. The only thing I can do, sometimes you just got to put the old bit back in before you go completely insane, not knowing what the hell's going on. It's actually working fine with that in it, of course. And this is a problem that seems to come and go. Okay, I'm going to change that transistor anyway, just so that's out of the way. Because I can guarantee if I put this box back together, it'll probably play up again. I'm doubtful the transistor's faulty, but I'm going to change it just to be sure, at least if that's out of the equation. But of course it's basically playing now, but whether it'll work again when we try from cold is a whole other question, so I might get the other one back together. I did find one more faulty cap and that other one, went over it again. Because I'm not sure that is as loud as this one, but I don't know that that cap that I found had anything to do with the volume of it. But at least this one, for the second it's going, I'll leave it for now and try it from cold again, see what it does. Okay, got the 35 back together. Let's give it a whirl. Slow, fast. It's got the police siren thing going. I hear the motor making a bit of a clunky noise. Then it comes right. Oh, it starts off bad. Typical, runs out again. I think this one is basically okay, and the other one's a bit unknown. Got to plug all the radio and everything back together, but I think I can put this one back together safely. And I've got to fix that broken mount here somewhere, snapped off the tape. So longer screw, and that should hopefully fix it if it doesn't just snap it even more. Plastic's all brittle, it may break it. I guess the other option is we just screw it to the deck and don't care if it really actually goes down any further. That might even work. get it in there. Let's see what happens when I try and screw into this. Looks like, because it's got a pin sticking up, it'll at least hold it to the deck, so that's, yeah, it does actually bit in, so that's pretty good. That's better than I could hope for. Now, this had a, that sits like that. The spring, I think, might have sat like that. Now, how do I get it back together if that's... That breaks something if I'm not careful. Like that, maybe. Oh, that must have been it. Oh, yeah. I think you have it down into the hole and across and under this other piece. And that just holds that in place. But did the wires go under it or over it? I honestly don't know. I'm not sure it matters. Oh, I've got to put all our knobs back on this thing. Some of those probably need a good clean as well. Just needs this bit of dirt taken off. And yeah, bits like that around these switches need doing. Don't think you see any of that, but clean it anyway. Oh, am I missing one? Looks like I am. There's a broken one somewhere, wasn't there? Was that this? No, it was the other box, I think. One of them had a short one. Clean out the switch holes while we can get to them. And I haven't done that switch knob. I guess all these little gaps while we can get to them is where the dust collects. And down in there. Probably shouldn't really be using metho for this job because sometimes it affects the paint. So use a less harsh cleaner usually. So it looks like they put a good coating on this one. Those two little things, I think you can do them anyway. That's just the orange bit. Sticks through there. I've got to get rid of this horrible plastic off the handle. Dusting all those little recesses as well. That looks a lot better without all that, because it's down in around this LCD. Little plastic stick-on lens has dirt all around it. Because it doesn't really fill the hole perfectly. Certainly got a lot of dust collecting points on this thing. Especially with that upwards facing panel on it. So that's another reason not to have an upwards facing one, I guess. Now I've got a plug. I hope these are different types of connectors. I'm not sure they are. Do these plug in the same holes? Don't tell me that. Because I must admit I didn't take any notice when I took them out. Because it looks like it's brown wire there, grey wire there, as I originally thought. Seems to work alright. Let's get those cables out of the way. These need to go in here somewhere. They were all twisted together. I guess I should try and wrap them up again. Don't know if it makes much difference to anything. That moves around alright. And then we can plug our speakers in. I think that's almost back together, or ready to go back together. That grey wire's come out of this little hole. What was that? I think that's ready to have all the screws put back in. Let's just double check.
It's loud.
Pause works. Best quality.
Now I've made you really up.
Might need another head clean. That sounded pretty good. Oh, I'll just do one more high speed test. I've done it enough times, I think. Yeah, not as good quality as high speed doubles. It was always a bit lower quality. I never used to use it for anything I really wanted to listen to, but from memory it was quite good for doing computer games and stuff, and stuff you weren't that fussed about. What's going on here? Come on. Could have slid it off while I had the top off, because the handle will fall out, but just as easy to get it now. There's no point taking it off until I finished. I thought that was straight there, but no, it actually peels on its own a bit. Good riddance to that. So I've got a brand new Hitachi handle under there though. Maybe a bit of that plastic has done something to it. Something stuck on it a bit. So it's not as clean as you would hope under there. There's actually dust there. Quite a bit of dust coming out of there. You've been so nice, he didn't do right. No stereo light though. You worked all night, you're trying to cash out. You and your friends are trying to lash out. And I'm not. No FM stereo. Oh wait up, there's a switch on these. Not cutting out though when it should. Maybe that's why they put a switch on it. How's that fast button does it in increments of 10? Oh, we got something. Memory 1. Don't know how well it holds that memory, but it's there for now. So I'm not sure what that radio did before, but it went a bit weird. It seems to be working now, so maybe this has got more intermittent problems. One thing I must admit I forgot to do is check that other board for dodgy capacitors. But I'll give that a bit of a run here and there, and make sure we can put that cord inside the battery thing. Maybe we go a bit longer, but anyway. Of course, doesn't shut quick enough to hold it in there. I think they had it wrapped up a lot smaller. That was. I think that's about what it was like. I got it. That seems to stay in there nicely. But I'm not going to waste any more time on it, I don't think. Hopefully I'll have to do another video on repairing the radio. But I'll give that a bit of a run in the background and see what it's like. A few marks on the doors, unfortunately. Maybe a bit of polish will get that off. Quite a few scratches on there. It's the problem with these top mount things. Things get sat on it. As well as all the dust building up on it. But it doesn't look too bad. It's in pretty good nick. For, what is that, a 35-year-old unit really. I can't believe they're that old. But somewhere around there. So that's that one done. And we're just going to test this other one. I think it's still playing up. I swear that one's a little bit louder than the other one, but maybe I'm wrong. It does seem to crank a little bit harder. So I did check all the caps in that other one. Certainly seems to go pretty well. Let's just put it in fast mode again. Sounds like it's pulsing again. That's sped up and came right. Weird, so it starts off chugging a bit and then comes good. So I've changed that transistor. Oh, I'm just going to have to try it from cold again, I guess. But I think that's as far as I'm going to go with these things for now. That's still quite filthy. Needs a good clean on the back and everything. These things really stick together when they stick together. Gotta get some of this wiring back where it belongs. Clean these knobs. This one had the volume control broken off a bit shorter, so I've put it as the middle band in the graphic equalizer, which is probably the least used thing, but at least these just pull off. Can be replaced, but I don't think I ever want to touch one of these again, so I'm not going to get another one for parts. Though, to be fair, I'd be quite happy to pull the tensions out of these and throw the rest away. So I guess if I saw one cheap, I probably would buy it just for the tension mix. Let's give this a little clean up. One reason to take the knob off is to get all that dirt out of there. This one's certainly not in the best condition. That door feels a bit loose. Oh dear, now we've got another problem. What has happened here? What has happened here? That's just floating around in the breeze. That one's got a spring on it. This one's got the spring on the other end and the roller and to slow it down, and there's absolutely nothing holding that end in place. Or does that? I wonder if that sits on something when the cover's back together. Maybe that's what it is. Otherwise I have no idea what used to be there. Can't get down in there, that's pretty bloody right. Nice little ring around the volume, tuning to collect as much dirt as possible. Yeah, shame that's a bit melted, so that one really needs a new inner tuning knob on it. And we've got some white stuff up under there by the look of it as well, just to make the job longer. And the other one, there's a lot of dirt here in between the two doors and down the side of each door. This is not so much on the side, a bit in there. In between them is pretty bad. Oh man, there's got a big fluff ball down in there. And now what is this white thing in the tuning? I hope that's not where someone's glued it. Just a cobweb or something? I think that's a cobweb. Bloody spiders. Don't know what it thought it was going to catch up in there. FM bug maybe? Still can't get all of it out of there. I don't think the rest of it can be seen though. Oh, I was never a big fan of these Hitachis. I never really bought them for the tension mechs. And I must say, after this amount of work, I'm even less of a fan of them. They're not even that great a looking... Oh, I haven't screwed the board in. Not even that great a looking box, really. But I guess that's all a matter of taste, what people like in these things. But not what I'd call a great looking boombox. Certainly not your standard sort of one. But at least they're a bit different, I guess, just for a change. But unfortunately these are in a pretty bad way by the look of it. Now I've got to get the tuning, and I just tweaked the living hell out of it, didn't I? Whoops. I think I know where we were. We're around 87.8 for that channel. I think I left it down there, so it should be down here somewhere, which is almost about right. I think that should go on. Push this back together and see. That's still loose, that thing. I'm sure something's dropped out of there somewhere. Onto FM radio. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, pretty loud. To be honest, it probably is about the same as that other one, I think. Now that we've got all the caps changed in them. Oh well, they were a super long thing to fix, and I'm not even sure if this one is fixed. I'm not even sure if the other one's fixed, come to think of it. The radio was a little bit diggy there, so I better give these a little bit more of a run, and I'll add a bit to the end of this video. If I get them to play up again, that's if I haven't dropped a big rock on it for playing up, which is what I'd be tempted to do. Take my tension mechs out and chuck this thing away. And actually I should have pulled the speakers off and cleaned this one. Actually it's dirty. The other one wasn't so bad. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about that too much. It's not exactly mint, this one. So I'll give it a bit more of a run, and same with the other one, check the radio and that. And yeah, if they get too annoying, I think I'll blow them up. I have one last look at the two things together. Might be the last time you see them alive if they give me any more grief. But they're something a bit different, and certainly not much fun to work on with all those caps shot in them and goo all over the boards and weird problems with the motor, at least in high-speed dubbing. So I don't know if that little transistor was dead or not. It still seems to flick a little bit, but then it comes right, so I'm not too sure. I really could do with a couple of new belts in these, but I'm not sure I'm going to even bother. They're not really all that great even as a display piece, but I must admit that woofer does add quite a nice bit of bass to them. Certainly sounds better than your normal sort of tinny boombox, so you can't really knock them for performance when they actually work. And yeah, pretty good to have auto reverse cassettes in them, and yeah, quite rare in these to get a digital tuner. Like I say, even rarer to get it on shortwave. Virtually nothing that had shortwave actually had a digital tuner in it, because most of them had abandoned shortwave by the time they went full digital stuff anyway, because no one really listened to it by then. But I guess by that stage we're almost getting to the end of the life of cassette players as well. But yeah, these were a super large amount of trouble. I said double trouble, but I should have said quadruple trouble, I think, with these ones. But we got it mostly working in the end. We'll call it mostly working. Might have to call it a resurrection rather than a repair, but I'll give them a bit of a run. Be interested to see if that radio plays up again. I'm not sure what that was doing there. Possible we've got some caps on that other board that I didn't check. And this we'll have to check the high-speed dubbing. Both of them really want that testing, because I think this one did play up at one stage and then came right. I think after I recapped it, it seemed to work. That one's still slightly iffy, but at least it seems to reliably go into high speed now. because before it would just slightly increase the speed before doing that sort of pulsing thing and eventually getting up to reasonable speed, but pulsing a lot and yeah, making the test tape sound like a police siren. But at least it doesn't seem to be that bad now. They both seem to have a little bit of wow, especially comes through in high speed. But I think that's those belts. And yeah, found out that they actually do have different pairs of decks in these, so that's something I wouldn't have known otherwise. There's no manual that I could find for this one, only for that one. And found out that the pulleys are different size on the motor because the capstans are different size, so that's another thing I didn't know. Pretty much useless information, but if you're doing a bit of research on tension mechs, doesn't hurt to have a look. And somewhere here I have an IC for another Hitachi. I have a bit of a bigger, nicer looking box than these. I think a few years earlier, maybe only about 2 or 3 years earlier. And I'm pretty sure I think it had no sound off the tapes or something. I can't even remember what was wrong with it now, but when I did a diagnosis, it didn't seem to be capacitors. It seemed to be the IC in it, so we'll try that. See if we can get that one going. And that's got 2 different types of tension mechs that I haven't shown on this channel before. I think 200 and something, and I forget what the other one was, TN29 and TN something else with a 2 in it, I think, starting with a 2. So I might get onto that while I'm in the mood for doing Hitachis. Even though I'm definitely not in the mood for doing Hitachis, but that one was a lot more straightforward. I think I may have rebuilt it and stuff, and I want to get that video finished. Hopefully that's the end of it for these ones though. But otherwise I might add a little bit more in. But hopefully not. So thanks for watching.